Welcome all to the Alaska Bigfoot Studies. I'm your host, Chuke, and we are having a pretty good kickoff to our Alaskan summer. It's 1 or 2 days after the solstice, and just amazing. Right now, Beans Baxter is on his way to Monster Fest in Ohio. One of these years, I'd like to make that with him. And Rob Roy Menzies was just at the shop in Palmer, the Bigfoot art gallery, and I was going to go fishing with him, but he's got stuff he had to do, which I had to do too. I had to do a lot of house cleaning, and tomorrow I'm back to work and he's going to go fishing, or something. He's going to go on some kind of adventure, but I really should call in sick, but I can't because I'm saving up my time for more expeditions. We're going to have our second big expedition coming up at the end of July with Beans Baxter, Rob Roy Menzies. Jesse Desmond may even join us too, we'll see. So I'm very excited about that. And before that, I might even get an expedition with my buddy Tim, who's got this secret place with the old timer. Told him about these troll-like Bigfoot that are super mean and short with big tusks, that they just sound nasty. But I had a recent revelation while traveling in Southeast Asia, because I was not really familiar with the whole concept of the Monkey King. And the Monkey King is kind of he's been turned into a cartoon when we look at the TV show and the movie from the 80s. We got the blonde-haired monkey guy. It's actually a good costume. Looks like something out of Planet of the Apes. And then you've got the classic children's Wukong, that's like, Master, Sifu, Master. But I don't really like the TV show because they kind of turned him into a clown. But the children's cartoons actually have a lot of information. I spent like hours watching. There's like episode 167, the Road to the West with, the Tong monk. And of course, his right-hand man is Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. Now, I stumbled across this when I was in Da Nang, and I went to this massive temple complex of the Lady Buddha, and there was this 8-foot tall gold statue of this monkey man, and I was just like, who is this? And so it's Wukong. People refer him to as the Monkey King, but he is this iconic figure that goes back to these texts of the 16th century, the 13th century, and even older than that. But really, he's an archetype. So I do have a master's. I went to this spiritual psychology program in New Mexico, and I actually did a paper on archetypes. So an archetype is sort of like this final form that kind of goes throughout cultures, and it's this, you keep whittling things down to this abstract or this final form of something. And where they have the stories of the tulpas and things like that, it's just a pure form of something, and you'll see it throughout our combined consciousness. It's really interesting, but that is what I think the Wukong is. And of course, in Tibet, you've got the Yeti. All throughout China, you got this Yeren, giant ape creature. And there is a little bit of, oh man, these Davidoffs are powerful. I'm gonna have to snuff this out. There is a little bit of research that is done where people said, well, you've got the story of Wukong, and then you've got the Bigfoot in China and Tibet. What connection is there? And some people have made the connection, but to me, it was a no-brainer, because you look at the story of Wukong. Now, Wukong, he was sort of this spiritual monkey man that was trapped under this mountain for 500 years. Some of the stories said he was, in stone form. He was like a statue, and then the Tong monk came and revived him. But anyways, the Tong monk saved him from under this mountain, And Wukong was this monkey man. I don't think he was small. Like in the children's cartoons, he's like this small monkey. No, he was like a big monkey man. He was like a Bigfoot type creature that he was actually pretty nice. Like he wanted to serve the Tong monk. Like he believed in these scriptures and in this journey. He wanted to go along with the Tong monk. And when bandits and demons attacked the monk, Wukong got really pissed, and the monk had to restrain him. But Wukong was not a bad person. He was not a bad ape man. He was just pissed that anybody wanted to hurt his master, which was the Tong monk. So when this happened, and these bandits threatened the Tong monk, Wukong got really angry, and his eyes turned burning red, which is interesting because in Bigfoot stories, we see that here in North America, in Alaska, in the western area, the hairy man stories, we do have stories of glowing red eyes staring out from the darkness when people have these Bigfoot sightings. Anyways, he would get really pissed, and he would want to kill these bandits, and they were just like cowering in fear of this massive monkey creature, because he uses tools, which I thought was really interesting too. We have stories here of Bigfoot carrying a club. In the story of Wukong, he has this massive iron rod that he carries, and he threatened these bandits, and he was like, I want to kill these guys. And the Tong monk is like, no, I'm a pacifist. Wukong, please don't kill them. And so Wukong would like stop himself, but it got to the point where he would get so aggressive, even though he was a good person. He lived to serve the monk. He was just like his protector, traveling with him. But the monk had to put this brass headband on him, or bronze headband, or iron, or whatever it was. And what it was, I think of it as like an electric shock band, because every time Wukong got really pissed and would want to kill some bandit, the Tong monk would just like read this little prayer, and it would just like sink, and it would like squish down on Wukong's head and give him pain and shock him, and then he was able to control him. And then Wukong would be like, okay, make it stop. I won't attack these people. And the Tong monk, okay, he would read the verse again, and it would stop. So pretty fascinating that this creature, ape-like creature, and I think he was a big ape man. He was not a small monkey, because he could hurt people. But, he was not mean, but when he got angry, he would want to tear someone up, and the Tong monk had to use this headband to control him. So really interesting, and he's a real iconic figure. I got this little motif in Vietnam of sort of a cartoon-like caricature of Wukong. I am going to paint it, but it came with this little tree on this little wood stand. I thought it was really cool. But it's really interesting because Wukong is like this iconic character that children read about in the Far East, in Taoism and Buddhism. He's iconic, and he is an archetype, and he happens to be a monkey man who is smart, who gets very angry and uses tools. And this is ancient, and so we see this throughout Asia. And then you've got these sightings of the Yeren in China, and then of course the Yeti in Tibet. But the other interesting thing is, not only is he intelligent, not only is he super powerful, but he is able to kind of travel through the supernatural world. He's able to aloft himself on a cloud and fly away, enter other dimensions, talk to celestial beings, and then come back. Many times in the stories, Wukong did that, where he would, well, I'm going to go confront this celestial being. And so he would just take off on a cloud and then come back. That was really interesting. In North America, we have these Bigfoot sightings where the tracks just stop, and also people have seen the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, just kind of walk to a clearing and disappear. And that is exactly what has been described in these ancient Eastern texts. So I am just kind of putting the pieces together. I've got some ideas of what I want to do with some of this research when we go on our next big outing, expedition with Rob Roy Menzies and Beans Baxter. I'm very excited about that's coming on later this summer. But I just wanted to share my observations on Wukong. I think he's iconic, and I absolutely do think he is related to the Bigfoot creatures that we're seeing in North America, in Alaska, in Canada. Shout out to Jomo and the kids. I know he loves it when I talk about the interdimensional aspect of Bigfoot, and I don't think you can ignore the ancient texts talking about the Monkey King, Sun Wukong, all his travels with the Tan monk and getting pissed and wanting to attack people, having to be controlled, having these powers, and then using this giant rod. So really interesting. Let me know what you guys think. If you think there's an actual connection with these ancient texts of the Monkey King and the Bigfoot of North America. Fascinating. I'll have another video out next Sunday, and we're going to have some expeditions coming up. So check out Rob Roy Menzies, check out Alasquatch. He's going to be doing some coverage of Monster Fest, and he's going to meet up with Alex Petikoff, Small Town Monsters in Ohio. So some exciting stuff coming up, and we're going to keep the videos going. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.